To alienate means to separate. To estrange means to make indifferent. And in family law, both terms relate to a breakdown in the child's relationship with a parent. There can be good reasons for a child not wanting to see another parent, such as bad behavior by a parent, which can result in estrangement. Now, concerns arise when there is no reason for this child's behavior. Children can become estranged from one parent for a good reason that has absolutely nothing to do with the behavior of the other parent. In some cases, a child's relationship with one parent can become so damaged by the actions of the other parent that sometimes in the course of a custody battle, and sometimes intentionally, where children's relationship with one parent is intentionally damaged, usually again by the actions of the other parent. These children are often described as being alienated from the other parent. The difference between an estranged child and an alienated child is that the estranged child has grown apart from the parent for reasons that are, to be blunt, reasonable and more than likely realistic. An alienated child, however, is the victim of one parent's effort to destroy the child's relationship with the other parent. An estranged child is absolutely ambivalent about the other parent or enraged by the other parent. And these feelings are, however, justified by the child's experiences of the separation by the child's experience of that parent. And the children are usually estranged as a result of witnessing violence committed by that parent against the other parent, being the victim of abuse from that parent, the parent's persistently immature and self-centered behavior, the parent's unruly and rigid and restrictive parenting style, and or the parent's own psychological and psychiatric issues. The point here is that the feelings of estranged children are based on the child's lived experiences. In cases of estrangement, the child's rejection of a parent is reasonable and is an adaptive and protective response to the parent's behavior. Now, the feelings of an alienated child, however, are neither reasonable nor the result of the rejected parent's conduct. Alienated children will usually reject a parent without guilt, sadness, and without an objectively reasonable cause. The children's views of the alienated parent are usually grossly distorted and exaggerated. Alienation is most easily defined as a complete breakdown of the child's relationship with the parent as a result of the other parent's effort to turn the child against that targeted parent. Typically, alienation is only a problem when the parents are involved in extremely bitter and heated litigation, and not every case of high conflict litigation involves alienation, but alienation can and often does happen. Intentional alienation of a child against one parent is absolutely wrong and virtually an unforgivable crime. In some circumstances, alienation can and does amount to child abuse. So any attempt at alienating the children or a child from the other parent should be seen as a direct and willful violation of one of the prime duties of parenthood. The parent who is most likely to attempt to alienate the child from the other parent is the parent who has the child most of the time, usually because of that time, that interim order, or some other temporary arrangement. The sorts of behavior that suggest an intention to alienate a child from the other parent include, among other things, making negative comments about the other parent to the child, stating or implying that the child is in danger when with the other parent, grilling the child about their activities, meals, and living conditions with the other parent, stating or implying that the activities, meals, and living conditions offered by the other parent are deficient and problematic, setting up activities that the child will enjoy during times that the child is with the other parent, telling the child that it's up to them to decide whether they get to visit the other parent, and or stating or implying that the children are being abused and maltreated by the other parent. The consequences of parental alienation or attempted alienation are profound. Alienation is at its best form of psychological programming and its worst, brainwashing. Alienation may result in a permanent destruction of a child's relationship with the parent and long-lasting psychological problems for the alienated child as well as the alienated parent. I know from firsthand experience how painful it is to watch your child's memory fade, erasing any cherished memories and revising them into tragic disappointments while simultaneously cementing memories of all your mistakes. The rejected parent is forbidden to take any sentimental journeys with their children, at risk of being accused of not getting it, not listening to them, and not wanting to minimize all of the bad stuff. And the parent is basically deemed manipulative, dangerous, and clueless, and their anguish is compounded when they're blocked from creating any new loving experiences, since all of these efforts are labeled as fake, ill-timed, not enough, too much, selfish, or just not quite right. So the children live with a debilitating anxiety that they must be hyper-vigilant to that loyalty contract with their alienating parent. Even the civility of normative salutations afforded to strangers or remote acquaintances are ignored and traded for blatant rudeness. Normal, successful, and loving experiences aren't allowed because they have to shrink that psychological tumor, and that is forbidden by the alienating parent. And unfortunately, the path of least resistance is the one that will cause the minimal amount of suffering for the children, is the path to sever the relationship with the rejected parent. The children will eventually end up providing only one way for the rejected parent to express their love, which is to stop fighting for them and to let them go.